Welcome back to the Apex Racing TV channel for the IndyCar Open Series. Sorry about that little technical issue. We're back on lap 37 out of 85. Andreas Ike is leading the race with Seville Sanchez and John Downing, your top three.
Ike pitted lap number 13, has the oldest tires currently running on the track, but the drivers that pitted on the last caution not able to catch him. They've been able to pass Ike a couple of times, but every time Ike has gotten right back to the lead. So they are currently leading the field off of 2, Sanchez in second, third Downing, fourth Blocker, and in fifth it's Henry Bennett.
Yeah, everyone following him, and the aggressiveness of the field trying to pass him at the restart was very aggressive. But it seems like they all kind of calmed down just a little bit, got a bit level-headed, and the strategy here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway is back alive, and I think we're going to have some clean racing. We did have one incident of the car parking itself in the infield, but since he didn't be stopped on track, he did not bring out the yellow.
Sanchez kind of just waiting in the wings like a cheetah, just ready to pounce on Ike, not going for any passes. Staying about 2 car lengths back. I think he's just saving up for something because we are nearing halfway done with this race. Still very early, but it's going to start to get a little bit more exciting once those laps start to take down.
Coming out of turn 4, Sanchez, we saw him closing in. Is he going to close in right now? We see Henry Bennett looking down the inside. Sanchez not going to go for the move. John Downing diving down to the inside, trying to get some clean air to cool off his car, as it's a following game now for the top 7 as they're trying to pull away from the rest of the pack. And if we look at our mini map right now, you can definitely see that they have pulled out a big gap to the cars behind.
This race kind of looking like a NASCAR iRacing Series race at Daytona. Everybody just relying on the draft, staying single file, waiting on that right moment to pounce. Right now, everybody just kind of waiting around for something to happen. It has been, I believe this has been roughly a 15-lap stint, the longest stint we've had all day. But, of course, right as I say it, they start to move Downing to the inside. It looks like he's going for a pass on Sanchez and Ike, side by side with Ike into 2.
Yeah, Ike staying on that outside. Downing not going to keep the power on there, not wanting to risk any damage. But here comes Adam Blocker, making it 3 wide. And thought about it, backed off just a little bit, put the hearts in the mouths right there, and Sanchez is caught out, and Adam Blocker almost coming into the back end of Sanchez for P3.
Sanchez was stuck on the outside for a little bit with nobody behind him. He was falling like a rock there for a little bit. Now Sanchez gonna fall victim to Adam Blocker to the inside, and possibly Bennett might get around him, but looks like I think Blocker's tires might be starting to wear a bit. He's starting to lift down the inside. Sanchez using the outside to his advantage to stay P3.
It's the aero wash. He's getting bad air from the aero, and he doesn't want to risk anything because when you're behind a car, it gets very hard to follow another one. And we see Blocker going around to the outside. I think he's lifting off, not trying to risk a move or risk a incident by forcing his way past there and fighting beyond the car's capabilities of the tires, and he's going to try to nurse these tires as long as we see John Downing and Ike going side by side into turn 1. We have a new leader. It's John Downing.
Downing right back to the lead. Ike in second. We'll see if Ike can pass once again. I believe they have, during this stint, they have not fallen back to more than third. Now Ike going to go back to the inside. They'll reach side by side into 3. And Ike, just like that, not even letting Downing lead a single lap, back to the lead is Andreas Ike.
Yeah, the fight at the front is back in action as Ike and Downing are running away from Blocker and Sanchez, who are also having a battle as here comes Downing once more down the front straight. As we enter lap 44.
A little over halfway done with this race now. Downing in the lead, Ike in second. We've seen Ike pass going into 3 multiple times, getting that huge run down the back straightaway. Ike to the inside of Downing, and they will complete the pass once again. Yes, they will.
Keep your eyes on Adam Blocker. We see him closing down each turn that they go side by side in. This is typical IndyCar swapping at the front, where they maximize their speed by swapping up onto the straights. Either they're doing it on purpose or they're racing. They're not going too hard into these corners.
To my knowledge, these drivers are not teammates. I don't even know if they're friends off of the sim, but right now they're either battling or doing a great job at pulling away from the field. But right to the outside of Bennett is Sanchez. Sanchez takes over P4, but Bennett looking again. No, fall back behind Sanchez. We have the battle for fifth between, well, that looks like Brazil and Riley Thompson. We haven't talked about Riley Thompson this entire race. Started P9, he's up in P6.
Riley Thompson's been having a great race, and sure enough, the pit stops have been helping him right there as the battle for first. Downing, Ike, and Blocker. 1, 2, and 3 all with each other, but it's really all about Downing and Ike. As we're halfway through the race, I think green flag pit stops are about to happen, and this is going to throw the race on its head.
Ike back to the inside of Downing. You got to remember, Ike pitted on lap 13. Everybody else in the field pitted either on lap 21 or 22. Ike is going to have to pit before the rest of these drivers, even though between lap 13 and 21, I believe all but maybe one of those laps was under caution. That's still burning that fuel. So I think Ike might need to pit a little bit earlier than the rest. But who knows? Maybe in this draft they're saving enough fuel they can pit with the rest.
Well, speaking of going into the pit lane, Antonio Jr. goes into the pits. His last pit.
His lap pit stop. He pitted on lap 13 with Ike. So that makes it wonder, is Ike going to pull into pit road very soon? Because Junior was the only other car to pit on lap 13 with Ike.
We'll see right now.
Oh, there we
yes,
go. Ike right into the pit lane. From P2, Ike into the pit lane.
And Aaron Rufus also as well going into the pit lane. So I think on lap 48, they will have enough to go into the very end of the race. And this is definitely going to be a game changer as Downing leading out Blocker and Bennett.
I think the game for Ike and Roofs now, along with the rest of those drivers that came into pit road, I believe it was just that too, as Junior is now labeled as out. But those two cars coming into pit road, I think their main objective now, get on the track, get up to speed, and just try to pass as many cars as possible, because when these leaders come into pit road, they will be in prime position to pass and take the lead back. Ike might be in the catbird seat for this win, but it's still a little bit too early to say. We have about 37 laps left. Looking like just a train coming down the back straightaway. Everybody just following each other down into turn number 2 and now into 3. Blocker continuing to lead the way. Downing falling back to 3rd. That looks like the lapped car of Roofs in between the two. Now Downing going to go for the lead. Sorry, Downing going to try to pass Roofs to take second back, but Roofs on those fresh tires going to keep, I'm not going to say P2, but he is in that P2 position, but Downing timed as P2, Bennett in 3rd, Thompson in 4th, Sanchez and Brazil right next to each other, 5th and 6th, both of our Brazilian drivers. Blocker continuing to lead the way. And Downing just having a hard time getting past that lapped car of Aaron Roofs. That is Aaron Roofs in the 23. Now Roofs going to go to try and pass the leader, get his lap back. And the 23 going to go back onto the lead lap. With those fresh tires, he's going to start pulling away, and I believe that's Andreas Ike just right up ahead.
Yeah, Ike's right up ahead, but this group is closing down on Ike. And I think Aaron Roof is going to be like a little locomotive right now, pulling along everybody else.
Ike, currently the first driver out of the group that pitted on lap number 47 under green. So if they are able to stay on the lead lap, keep on gaining momentum and gaining time on the rest of the leaders that pitted on lap 21 and 22, it is very well possible they could retake the lead and win this race. Because I believe now that everyone's starting to spread out, we might have seen the end of cautions here at Indianapolis. This could be a green flag race to the end.
Which is something that I believe we were all looking forward to see. Green flag racing all the way to the end. It's all about strategy. It's all about pace. And it's all about how you manage your tires. And Adam Blocker and John Downing are definitely making that look pretty good right now. As IM Keyman finally going back into the pits. We saw him go into the pits on the restart before we went off air. So, I believe he might have had a little bit of an issue. But I think green flag pit stops might start coming around very soon as we close in on 30 laps to go.
Blocker right on the back end of the 23 of Aaron Roofs. Remember, Roofs currently not on the lead lap, especially now that he was just passed by Blocker. He'll go a lap down. He is on the tail end of this field, pitted a couple laps ago on lap 47 along with Ike. The Ike pulling away. Roofs unfortunately trapped in this lead mess, and we have cars coming into pit road. Will Lamb, Ty Kevith, Brandon Lichtenberg, Hugo Olsen, and Laura Gerhardt are all in.
Now I think Adam Blocker might be coming in right now. He increased his pace, and he's pulled away from the field. So, John
Blocker gonna stay out. Downing's in. Downing's gonna pit alone. Only car joining in that looks to be Matt Holloway.
The pole sitter heading in behind him as well. We haven't talked a lot about Matt Holloway. Got pole, looked very good through the race. Just kind of sat there in P7 and been running his own race. I think this is where it's going to start shining, that pole time of a 38-second lap.
He is going to need all of that speed to keep up with the rest of the field. Everyone going to become extremely spread out. We could essentially see one large qualifying session, and there goes the leader. Blocker in. Bennett going to stay out. Also in is Brazil, Sanchez, Dalladone.
Dalladone was already in the pits, but our new leader is Henry Bennett. We do have cars exiting the pit lane now, and now it's going to become a game of strategy over speed and raceability in the pack. This is what makes Indianapolis its own little crazy mess, and we all love it.
All right, currently sitting P number 6, pitted on lap 47. You can see him along with Roof pitted on lap 47. Everybody else coming in on 52, 53.
The pits.
And there goes Bennett in, Thompson in, and I believe that is everybody in the pits for green flag stops. That is on the track and running.
Yes, we are. And P3 is Blocker. But Ike, he's coming in and closing in on Blocker, who just came out of the pits. But Blocker on the back straight. But Ike's having a little bit of draft party with John Downing right now as Downing goes up onto the inside for P4.
Bennett and Thompson still in the pits, still
Only got
on
the
the
lap
timing.
car ahead of him.
They're still on the timing as the leader, but it looks like Downing gonna make his way down and pass them as they're coming out of the pits. Bennett currently scored as the leader. No, he's on the track.
It's
Bennett gonna
Blocker.
keep the lead.
Bennett just got a unsafe pit release. That's a unsafe pit release. He crossed the white line. He's going to be black flagged and going to have to go back into the pit lane. He's not getting back on the throttle, and I think
Blocker
he
takes
knows
the
what he
lead.
did.
Blocker takes the lead. We'll see if Bennett pulls down in the pit lane to serve that penalty. But Blocker now taking the lead. Bennett gonna
He's not
stay out
serving
so
it.
far.
There's
Bennett's
a
going for the
case where
lead.
there is a case where you can get a black flag for doing that, but I don't know if this is the case. If it will be a 4 wheels off or 2 wheels over the line. We'll see what happens. But Bennett back in the lead ahead of Adam Blocker. These two racing it out ahead of Thompson and Downing, who are 2 seconds behind them.
Bennett was the last driver to pit along with Riley Thompson, and that paid off. Was able to come out of the pits, basically side by side with Blocker. Now he is a threat for the lead as they're going to come across the line for 27 laps remaining in this race here in Indianapolis. Huge battle back in the field for third.
They're going 3 wide back there, slimming it back down to 1 wide, and going 2 wide in the back of there. But bound for third is absolutely going crazy. We see Marco Antonio Brazil going down onto the inside, defending from his fellow countryman, Sabo Sanchez. And a very aggressive block, but up here in the battle for first, Blocker and Bennett coming up onto the lap car of Cedro de Donde, who's down in P16. Bennett down onto the inside, as well as Blocker following suit as that lap car gets out of the way as we enter lap 60. Here comes Blocker.
Blocker back to the inside on Bennett, the 1 car and the 2 car. The 2 highest I ratings in the field going side by side into 1. Blocker will take the lead away from Bennett, but Bennett doesn't look like he's done just yet. He's going to try to get a huge pull down the back straightaway, take that lead back from the 2.
Going side by side, inch by inch. There's no separating these 2 guys. Just track position and where they are in the corners as Bennett retakes the lead, heading onto the front straight. And I think I think Blocker is trying to manipulate himself and time the jump for the start-finish line if this comes down to the last lap between these 2.
Inside 25 laps to go now. An hour down in this race. Blocker leading the way. Bennett in second. Back in third is Brazil, 2 seconds back from the leader, Henry Bennett. 2.5 seconds back. Then it's his Brazilian teammates, Sanchez, along with John Downing, rounding out your top 5. Riley Thompson in 6th. Andreas Ike in 7th. 8th, Matt Holloway. 9th, Aaron Roofs. And in 10th, Will Lamb.
And then battle for third is absolutely insane. We see these guys squapping all over the place. And the reason that the 2 leaders have pulled away right now is because everyone's fighting for position back here, that they're not focused on maximizing their speed and closing in on the leaders. And that's how Blocker and Bennett are able to pull away from this. They have no draft to work on, just to draft off their fellow pack mates, but these guys just want to be at the front of the pack right now.
John Downing has seemed like he was up either battling for the lead or in third this entire day, and now he is all the way back in 5th. Man, you got to feel for him. He cannot get past Brazil and Sanchez ahead of him and go fight for the lead. He has got to pick his battles here, and this is the battle he has been dealt. Brazil going to go to the inside of Sanchez for third.
Back up front, Blocker, Bennett. But Brazil holding down that inside line as he takes third place.
Miguel Fernandez and Tanner Jr. both going 1 lap down.
They go down the back straight right now. Brazil defending onto the inside. Here comes Sanchez. Sanchez looking for that outside run, trying to hold that speed around the outside. That's a very risky move right there. It's not going to pay off as Brazil holds P3.
Brazil not letting Sanchez by. He's been fast all day, led a few laps earlier in this race. And they're 3 wide going into 1. Downing saying he's had enough of this, trying to pass on the outside. He'll move back behind the two Brazilians now on the inside line.
Yeah, these 2 are holding a lot of speed right now. And we see Sanchez going all over the track trying to find that grip. And he just can't get by Marco Antonio Brazil. And here he goes down onto the inside. Can he force the move? Marco goes wide, and here comes Sanchez for P3. And they have the lap car of Deladonde ahead of him. And here comes Marco taking advantage of the lap car. He's going to sneak by for P3. And here comes John Downing. They're 3 wide down the front straight.
Sanchez got held up by Deladonde in turn number 4. Now Brazil will lead this pack once again. Sanchez sitting in P number 4 right behind P3 of Brazil. And I know Downing has to be hurting. You can see he has a faster car than these drivers. Just cannot find a way around him. Sanchez going to go on Brazil once again for third.
Comes Sanchez up the inside, forces the move just like earlier, and he gets up into P3.
20 laps to go, and they come across the line here. There it is. Bennett and Blocker still battling up at the front. Bennett taking the lead, but right back to the front is Adam Blocker. These two trading positions a lot, but not as much as the drivers fighting for third. Brazil leading this pack in P number 3. And let's talk about Sanchez real quick. Started all the way back, P17, and he is up in 4th. Possibly, if we get a caution, he'll challenge for the lead. What a run by Sanchez today. Even if he does not win this race, it has been an amazing one for him.
Sanchez up 14 spots, as well as Aaron Rufus. Wait. Turns out I have dyslexia. That was not 14. That was 4. Yeah, I'm looking at the wrong numbers.
I was going by what was up on the graphic there. They're on blind. That was a 14. Anyways, back to the racing. Downing going to the inside of Sanchez into 3. Downing going to finally try and lead this pack, and it looks like he is going to complete the pass. No, Sanchez still on the outside as they roll through turn number 4. Downing now leads this field. He'll take over P number 3 back to where he started in this race.
I'm being let know that the on-screen graphics were when Marco rejoined the session. So he was up 14 places from where he is. Sanchez actually qualified in 5th, and he's still in 5th. The biggest mover in the field right now is Hugo Olsen, up 12 spots in 14th place. Aaron Rufus up 4 spots, with Will Lamb up 9.
Riley Thompson now up in this fight. He is the second car in this group, right behind Downing. Started in 9th, gained 5 spots since the start. We haven't talked about him much, but he has a solid top 5 running going here. He could have a top 3 running if he gets past Downing, and there he goes to the inside. Sanchez taking it 3 wide.
Oh, this is going to be tight as Bennett.
Bennett's around. Bennett's around the apron, no caution.
Bennett is turned sideways, and he's parking the car on the road, and I think we're going to have a caution coming out.
What happened here from Bennett? Goes inside. He self-spins.
He got onto the curb.
Bennett self-spun.
And Bennett brought out the caution for himself by parking it onto the racetrack.
A great way to do that. He will not lose as many positions now. He's down in P12. But what a tough break for Bennett, running up front the entire race. Goes into turn number 1, self-spins. Now he's going to have to fight his way back up through the field. We have only 16 laps remaining. And we are now under caution with Adam Blocker leading the way.
That might be looked upon down on a few guys for just parking onto the racetrack to bring out a caution for yourself.
But you also got to think, if this was in the real-life IndyCar series, a caution would have come out. I just think Bennett wanted his caution for spinning. Rightfully so. If a spin happens, a caution should be thrown. And he also did not lose that many spots. I think everybody is going to come down pit road for some fresh tires for the end of this race.
Well, we're definitely having a shootout happen. Adam Blocker leading it out. They're definitely going to be heading into the pit lane. We are not going to have a Las Vegas-style shootout with somebody gambling it on tires. I'm tempting fate because I know somebody's going to try it.
But, you know, guys, we always seem to have these late cautions in the series, and, I mean, it's all go for the show, as we have maybe...
Thompson's staying out. Thompson is staying out.
Riley Thompson stays out.
Wait, that's a lap car. Never mind.
There's a couple lap cars.
That was a lap car.
Lap car. Everyone is going in.
Yeah, everybody coming in. Bennett is in. Could Bennett possibly go fuel only and try to take the lead back?
No, he has to have damage from there.
No, I don't think he has damage. I think he just spun.
He self-spun on the apron. I don't believe he hit anything. Could be possible Bennett might go for a quick strategy call here, but these pit stops are so quick. I think, already coming out of the pit lane is Adam Blocker. He's going to come out first. And Bennett is going for tires. He'll fall back in the order, but out in first, it's Adam Blocker, Silvio Sanchez, Riley Thompson, John Downing, and Andreas Ike, your top 5 coming off of pit road. like I was saying before we went under caution, Sanchez has been so strong all day. So has Riley Thompson. And both of these drivers are now sitting second and third. I think we're going to see an upset win between one of those two. Adam Blocker, John Downing, and Henry Bennett have been the main three all day. I think Riley Thompson might be in the best spot. He'll be in third on this restart. I think he might be in the best position to possibly come home with a win here at Indianapolis.
As everyone's getting themselves pumped up and ready to go. Looking up the field, we do have a few cars that are still waiting to come into the pit lane. The pace car is still going on, but they are actually staying out for right now, so don't know if the pit lane's closed for them or it's
I think they're going to
open.
take the wave around, so they can get back on the lead lap. I think they are fuel to the finish, so a gamble for these guys. That are in front of the pace car.
Right now, going towards the end of this race, I think mainly these lap cars just want to try and get back on the lead lap. They are going to go all around the pace car, and I believe the lights are out on the pace car.
It is.
We should be going back to green this time by. We'll be back to green with I believe it will be, trying to do the math in my head because I don't have it in front of me, 13 laps to go to the finish.
You can hear the driver, Adam Blocker, and I think he's the only one actually burning fuel.
Yeah, he's
That
holding
is
down
actually a good
clutch.
strategy call. He wants only the minimum amount of fuel in his car. Sanchez now joining in. You want the minimum amount of fuel in these cars because the less weight, the faster you're going to go, especially in the draft. So everybody just, especially those top two, I don't think anybody else is doing it, trying to burn fuel, make sure they only have enough to get to the finish, because once you cross that start-finish line on the last lap, you don't need any more fuel.
Well, you need fuel to do donuts.
Donuts, schmonuts, you want to win.
Well, yeah, you gotta.
Am I the only one who saves fuel for donuts? No?
I mean, if it's not a fuel mileage race, yeah. But if it's coming down to this, then yeah, I save a little bit.
All right, well, with the shootout coming down, it's a good old 97 degrees on track, 73 degrees in the air as the pace car lights are out, and we're back green as Blocker has in charge of the restart. He goes. We're back
Blocker
racing.
with a nice start. About 6 car lengths separating him and Sanchez in P2. Sanchez gonna play catch up here, Downing in 4th, trying to chase after this top 3 group as they're all gonna start to pull away. Thompson in the draft to Sanchez. Will he go for 2nd place right now? It looks like Sanchez going for the lead on Blocker.
Sanchez down onto the inside. He's got the lead and he's got the position. But the battle for first is all these 5 cars all together.
5 cars in a bunch now, all battling for the lead. Blocker following the drive to Sanchez. He'll take it on his own to the outside. He's got a little bit of help from Riley Thompson behind him. They're both still on the outside. Thompson following the wake of Blocker. Blocker trying to get past Sanchez into turn number 2. Will he complete the pass? No. Sanchez keeps the lead, but now they're going down the Indianapolis backstretch.
Blocker's got no one to help him right there. Sanchez has all the advantage in the world, starting that corner up onto the inside. He's just got to watch out for that mid-corner, though, as Blocker's just going to have to just accept the fact that he's on the outside line. And here comes Ike, and Ike is in second, and Ike's going to charge for the lead.
Ike led a lot in the middle of this race during that long green flag stint before they had to make a green flag stop. We're 3 wide for the lead into 1. Ike all the way up by the wall. In the middle was Blocker. Sanchez down on the inside. Sanchez comes out victorious in that battle with 11 laps to go down the back straightaway. Blocker looking for the lead again. He'll go back to the outside. Almost causing a wreck was Alessandro Dalladone on the inside. Everybody gets by good. Sanchez side by side with Blocker through 3.
Sanchez keeping that inside line. Blocker as hard as ever, trying to charge in, getting into that draft, getting out of it. Sanchez defending all that inside of his line to keep that position 1 to his name. But Blocker's got the nose up in front of him, heading into turn 1. But Sanchez keeping that inside line. He's going to come back in mid-quarter. And it's Sanchez, Blocker, Ike, and Brazil all battling each other. Look out for Brazil. Brazil's making his move up into 3rd place now.
Brazil could possibly be in the best spot in this group because he is keeping that inside line. Blocker being forced to go to the outside by Sanchez. Brazil can follow Sanchez all he wants until he gets into the battle for the lead.
Great racing up here at the front for the Indianapolis Open win. It's Sanchez and Blocker leading out this group.
9 to go as they come across the line. Everybody bunched up, 3 wide going into turn number 1. Sanchez keeping the lead. Now Ike side by side with Blocker for 2nd.
They're heading down the back straight. Sanchez keeping that inside line. Blocker keeping around that outside line. Blocker is taking a very risky strategy. I think he's waiting for somebody to get a little bit too confident right here. And that's kind of smart. A risky version of smart. But Sanchez and Corinthians leading out this race. And he's got a fan club in chat.
The Brazilians showing up in chat. Everybody rooting for Sanchez. He is in the lead of this motor race. The rest of the field falling back a little bit. 2-3 car lengths now separating the leader and the rest of the pack as they go by a lap car on the outside.
Silvio is racing for the official esports team of Corinthians, one of the biggest football clubs, not only that in Brazil, so can imagine the pride of representing your club also on the racetrack.
He has been doing a great job all day, currently in P4. This battle for the lead is not over. Blocker going right down to the inside with Sanchez, trying to get a slingshot to the outside, but that outside line just not working today. Blocker going for the pass again, not going to make it happen. That inside line is so strong here at Indy.
Sanchez has been holding that inside line all the way throughout the corner. That's destroying his tires, but that's not as destroying them as much as Blocker is holding it around the outside. You see that mechanical grip and just trying to force his way around the outside. And with just under 6 laps to go, tires are going to be crucial. And look at Matt Hollyball, the pole sitter. He's back in 3rd. He's down onto the inside. He's trying for 2nd. He's got 2nd. He's looking around to the outside. Matt Hollyball's looking for the lead.
He might have made the move just early enough to get past Sanchez. They're side by side into one. Holloway not going to go far enough. All the way up by the wall, you see the Brazilian of Marco Brazil. Down into turn number 3, Sanchez keeps the lead, but Holloway, the pole sitter, fastest car in qualifying. It looks like he almost went into the grass to try to pass him there, but he'll go to the outside of Sanchez. We'll come across the line this time with 5 laps to go.
Coming out of turn 3 into the short chute and into turn 4. A little bit of a gap. Hollyball can get into that draft as he does right there, trying to get as much speed as possible. He's going to try to go for the slingshot and get around Sanchez as we're 5 laps to go here at Indianapolis.
Holloway fell back in the order earlier in this race. He started on the pole, fell back, had a little bit of adversity, but fought right back up through the field, and in the last caution was able to get far enough up that he is now within striking distance of the lead with 5 to go. Down the back straightaway, he's going to race contact with Sanchez.
Piña!
Right into Adam Blocker. An unbelievable wreck in turn 3, Blocker involved. That is how the emotions run in Indianapolis. Both wanting the lead, both being denied. Andreas Ike will take the lead now. 4 to go across the line. We're under caution.
He forced the inside in. Sanchez has had a little bit of a gap as he forced the inside, but Sanchez not letting him have any space as he gets forced into the grass going into turn 1 and just shot up the track.
Holloway was able to make a hole. Holloway was able to make a hole down there, but Sanchez, the emotions of possibly winning here at Indianapolis, getting the best of him. He wanted to keep Holloway at bay, and it did not happen. Both of them now wrecked along with the number 2 of Adam Blocker. Had such a great day here at Indianapolis.
See Sanchez,
You
he
can see
left the
a
gap
textbook
open. Here
move.
comes Matt Holloway down up to the inside. Sanchez not letting him have any space. So there's a little bit of net code. They come intertwined with each other. But, oh, that is just very unfortunate. Let's ride on board with Aaron Rufus at this incident. Everyone down to the inside. We see Adam Blocker and John Downey shoot up the track. They know something's up, and bang.
An unfortunate wreck here late in the race, taking out 3 great drivers all day. But Andreas Ike will keep the lead. Nobody coming down pit road, I believe. They're going to come across the line onto lap 83. 3 laps to go.
I think we should go back to green for, I think, 1 lap shootout, if my calculations are correct.
Is this Vegas? It's like a direct representation of Vegas again.
So, we are less than 10 laps to go, so every lapped car that is between, amongst the leaders will be put to the back of the field. And actually, there aren't many cars left, to be honest. We have 12 cars still running. I think Lichtenberger... No, that is Olibo. That car is not going anywhere, I'm afraid.
I think he was trying to get back up into the grid and try to chase down everybody and just wanting to finish this race, but that car is so damaged it's going to be very impossible to drive, but he's forcing it as much as he can. But this is great news if you are John Downing. Remember what happened in Phoenix. He was charging down the leader going into the final lap. He crashed it into a wall and finished in 3rd. John Downing, redemption can happen for him today in the Apex Racing TV's Strength of Field broadcast for the IndyCar Open Series.
We'll come across the line with 2 laps to go. If we are going back to racing, those lights on the pace car will go out. I want to talk about this top 5 because we have 2 drivers that we have not talked about all day. Andreas Ike is in the lead, John Downing in 2nd, Marco Brazil in 3rd. We've seen them up front all race. But IM Keeman and Riley Thompson. Thompson has made a run late in the game to try and make his way up to the front. But the only time we have talked about IM Keeman was when he stayed out a couple cautions ago with worn tires and possibly some damage. And he came down pit road, got it fixed. He's now in P4 with a chance to win this race.
Moment of truth. Here comes the pace car.
Lights are not out. Lights are out. We're going to have a 1-lap shootout for the win in Indianapolis.
All right, I need to stand up my standing desk for this because let's freaking go. I hope y'all are ready for this.
Make your pick, guys. Come on, Austin.
John Downing.
Joshua?
I'm going with the underdog, Riley Thompson in P5. He has had such a good run late in the game. He rivaled for the lead a little bit. I think he might be in the best spot here. We haven't talked about him all race. Perfect for an upset.
I mean, if you want to win this race, you have to be quick. In this situation, you have to be smart, but you also have to be a bit crazy. And I think that Marco Brazil will be the one celebrating in victory lane in 1 lap's time.
But we also have to talk about there is a huge possibility of a wreck here on the final lap. Everybody wants to win, and I would argue everybody in the top 6 or 7 has a chance at the win. So a chance at a win in Indianapolis plus a 1-lap shootout. I don't think we're done wrecking here at Indy, and I think you're going to see a lot of damaged race cars coming across the start-finish line on the last lap.
Here goes nothing, guys.
They're bunching up, coming down the short straight. Ladies and gentlemen, make your bets. Can Andreas Ike defend P1? Can John Downing get redemption mode and finally get a win in the Strength of Field broadcast? Can Marco Aurelio Brazil close in on 2 guys going down the front straight? Will it be Riley Thompson, the underdog? IM Keeman, biggest mover, up 11 spots where he started. Ladies and gentlemen, pace cars in, and we are going green for 1 lap to go here in Indianapolis.
Ike waited for the green light. Surprising. Was expecting them to go on the pace car, get as much of a gap between him and Downing as possible. Downing in P2, back about 3 car lengths. Brazil back about 3 car lengths from Downing. But now everybody gonna bunch up going into turn number 3. Into turn number 2, they're gonna go down the back stretch for the final time. Ike defending all they can, snaking down the back straightaway, breaking the draft.
Here comes Downing in the draft. I don't think he can catch him though by the corner. He does catch him. Downing around the outside into the short chute. Brazil is right there with him. Coming out of turn 4. It's going to be a drag race here in Indianapolis.
Brazil up the middle.
No!
The top 3 all around. Who gets through?
It's gonna be Bennett.
What's it, Bennett?
Rufus is...
Aaron Roofs won this race! Unbelievable!
Rex across the line for the win. An unbelievable finish at Indy. Roofs takes the win. What a race!
Have you ever?
No, I have never.
The first pack of 3 crashes, and then the second pack of 3 crashes, and we had no idea it was going to be it. And Aaron Roofs, out of nowhere, up 12 positions.
I think Aaron Roofs came across the line sideways. I don't even think he came across and forward.
It's now saying that
No,
Henry
Bennett has won the race.
Bennett with the win. Did he get a penalty?
I think finishing sideways is not legal, and Henry Bennett didn't finish sideways, and I think Henry Bennett just now won the race.
They are shown as tied on my monitor. There must have been... no, I don't know. Let's watch this again.
On the iRacing timing in the sim, it is showing Henry Bennett in first, and then Aaron Roofs 9 1/1000ths of a second back.
Let's see this again.
That's all we need.
Aaron Bennett, points leader coming into this race, wrecked, stopped on the track to bring out a caution, and now possibly might have won this race.
He did win the race.
I have never seen anything like this in my life. I'm sorry. That was bananas, bonkers. So say what you will.
Bananas, bonkers, bonanza, bonsai,
Any B word you got, it applies here. Bennett side by side with the 8 of Will Lamb. They wreck with Roofs. Bennett gets by.
By an inch, Bennett takes the win in the most unlikely victories he will ever have.
What a race to end here.
Well, I'm glad I was standing up for that, because I definitely would have busted my table jumping, because wow. Taking the win, Henry Bennett by 9 1/1000ths of a second, followed up by Aaron Rufus, Will Lamb, John Downey, Brendan Lichtenberg, your top 5.
Ty Kivith coming home in 6th, 1 lap down, being scored 1 lap down. Laura Gerhardt in 7th, 8th, Hugo Olsen, 9th, Riley Thompson, 10th, Andreas Ike.
Behind him is I Am Keeman, Marco Brazil, Matt Hollebro, Miguel Fernandez, and Silvo Sanchez in P15.
Adam Blocker, last week's winner at Mosport, coming home 16th. 17th, Alessandro Dalladone, 12 laps down. Antoner Jr. in 18th. We'll take a look at the rest of the field who ended out of the race. Pierre Boarding, Sam Blackwood, Simon Bryant, AJ Burton, John Keefe, Daniel Sharp, Frederick Campbell, and Lewis Area rounding out your field. What a race here at Indianapolis in the Open Series.
Now, remember at the start when Laura Gerhardt was involved in there and she kept out, and how he said anything can happen. You can go from last and you can go at first. If you go back up to the results, Laura Gerhardt, she's up there in P5.
I want to see that final lap again from various perspectives. This was from Marco Brazil's perspective. And here he comes. So he sees the gap, he says, I'm going for it. Little bit of netcode there, but these speeds is absolutely unavoidable.
Yeah, and that's what you have to do, especially at Indianapolis and in these cars. You have to take any gap that you can possibly see, especially coming to the green, especially coming to the checkered. They saw the checkered flag waving, coming down the front stretch. They wanted to get to the yard of bricks, and just that's what the emotion does. You take any gap you see, especially here on primetime Apex Racing TV.
We do have interviews open for any driver wanting to come in. The Discord link is in the chat. And here we have our race winner, ladies and gentlemen, Henry Bennett. Congrats on the win.
Thanks, I think.
What happened?
I'm going to have to watch that back a few times to understand, but yeah, that's...
We're doing the exact same thing. We are doing the exact same thing here.
I mean, at some point, I knew that it doesn't matter who hits who, that I'll cross the line in some order in the top 3 or 5 or something. But yeah, definitely gonna have to watch that back. And yeah, it's about time I got one of these kind of lottery type endings went my way. But that's got to be one of the luckiest finishes to a race I've been a part of.
I think lucky is a simplified word for what just happened. All out insanity is what happened, and I think the best way to come across this line is with your eyes closed and screaming.
It was close. I mean, I was trying to dodge cars as I was coming to the line, but me and Aaron was just ahead of me. Will, I didn't see to my side. He was avoiding a car, and we were all trying to avoid cars, but we ended up hitting each other.
Yeah, you got tapped from the outside, and then you were dragged into a Aaron right there. And you crossed the line 9/1000ths of a second ahead of Aaron, who is also with us in the interview waiting area to be interviewed.
Henry, you are currently leading the point series here overall in the IndyCar Open Series. How important was this win to keep the point series with 2 weeks left, Belle Isle Auto Club, but also 2 Apex Racing TV Strength of Field races remaining in 2019 Season 4?
It's quite important. It looks like I've got quite a big lead at the moment, but John and Adam especially, he's quite close, but with 2 weeks still to count in his points. He's only got 6 weeks out of the 8 weeks. So if he does well in the next 2 weeks, he could beat me. So his little points boost, I think, helps quite a bit. Yeah, it's just unfortunate that Adam couldn't finish this race because he was strong all day. Yeah, just got caught up with the accident that caused the last.
I believe Marco has some words for you as well before we give the mic over to Aaron Rufus.
No questions for me. Just if Henry wants to thank anyone or shout out to his sponsors, friends, whatever, this is his time.
Yeah, big thanks to everyone at Team Powerslide, especially Adam. We've been working hard on the Indy 500 setups all week, and it paid off today. We should have dominated. We should have had a 1-2 finish. It was just a stupid error by me. It was a malfunction of my controller. Sent the weight jacker, I think, to +20, and I span, causing the caution. I couldn't get the weight jacket back down to 0. I had to unplug the controller and plug it back in. But that caused the caution. Otherwise, Adam would have had an easy win. But yeah, big thanks to you guys at Apex as well.
Well, thank you, Henry. Congrats on the luckiest win I have ever seen, and hopefully, you have a good time, and hopefully you have a good race in the Open Wheels 500 up on Sunday. I believe you're qualified for that, if I was not mistaken.
Yep, start P5, I think.
All right, and I'll see you. We'll see you on Saturday for nope, not Saturday, not next week for Detroit Belle Isle. I know what I'm saying. Let's bring in Aaron.
I haven't watched.
Oh, sorry to interrupt your conversation. Howdy. How you
Hi.
doing?
Good. That was crazy.
So that finish.
Yeah, I know. I don't know who they were, but I know the 9 and whoever else was next to him coming to the last corner. They got slow, and I kind of didn't lift until they went spinning, and then I don't know what happened in the front of the field there, but and then I'm like just on my side. I knew I was trying to dodge cars, and I thought, I knew someone was next to me. I didn't know where, but then I was just hoping maybe I wreck in first place, but I'll take second.
Aaron, you were one of the drivers that pitted with Andreas Ike, or kind of early in the race. You were one of the first to pit during green flag stops. You did go a lap down. How hard was the fight going from being a lap down to being a contender for the win there late in the race?
It was pretty tough because like my tires were obviously like 10 laps older and stuff, and I was fighting with Adam there to be on and off the lead there for a few laps. So I was just really after working the weight jacker and stuff, and was hoping for a caution because I was a little bit short on fuel. I pitted a little too early, and fortunately it fell that way.
With that crash, what was heading through your mind, or were you just gunning it and just praying?
Yeah, I guess this is the second option. I'm just like kind of thinking in my mind, wow, first if I can get through this wreck, I think I win. And then next thing I know, I'm sideways, and I'm just like, okay, where's the start finish? Did I cross? Did I cross? And yeah, it was crazy. It was fun though. It was a good battling all day, that's for sure.
It was certainly the most electrifying 60 seconds we've ever seen here on Apex Racing TV.
Yeah, that one we should send it to iRacing for the top 10 of the month right there, I think.
I think that might land in the top 10 fails or the wins. I can't really find a place to put this right now. It was just all utter chaos, but I know it's definitely going up on that Busch iRacing top clips of the month.
Yeah. Nice win though, Henry.
Thanks, Aaron. Good race too. Yeah, congrats on P2.
Thanks.
All right. Let's bring in the pole sitter, Matt. Insert last name here, Hollabro, because apparently none of us knew how to say his last name. Howdy, Matt. How are you?
I'm gonna be honest with you. I've been better. I thought I had a car that could win that thing. Took it to the inside in 3, and I mean he left the gap open, and then he had to be a coward and just squeeze me onto the grass entering 3 and wrecked us both. Wrecked a bunch of cars. P13 on such a big stage. That's pretty nice, especially considering I didn't make the open wheel 500. But no, I should have had a better result there. That's my first non-win this week out of my 4 attempts.
Matt, you qualified on the pole to start this race, and you kind of fell back. I believe you kind of always stayed in the top 10, but you kind of fell back from that lead charge until late in the race. Was your race setup different than your qualifying setup, or how different were those two cars?
Oh, significantly so. My qualifying setup was based off of my open wheel 500 qualifying setup for that event, and I wasn't able to string 4 good laps over to make that field, but I figured out a good way to consolidate all the grip I needed into one flying lap to get the pole. But then later, when the race actually started, I was running up front for a few laps. I was trying to maintain a decent not lose the pack, so to speak. But then when I saw them going 3 wide, I kind of instantly went into survival mode and realized, you know what, I'm just gonna hang back, just kind of relax. I know I got the car that can get back up there. Over the race, I made adjustments to my wings and my tire pressures, and playing with the weight jacker the whole time, just biding my time, waiting for the ends, waiting to get a shot at the lead, and then as I finally went for it, entering 3, that's all she wrote.
Yeah. So, any thoughts on that finish? I know you weren't involved in that finish, but that incident that you were caught up in, it did start that finish. What are your thoughts on that finish we just had?
As a spectator, it was hilarious. As a racing fan and as a racer that was in this field, I personally think it was just there was so much going on. Honestly, just a lot of people should be ashamed of themselves for how they handled that finish. It wasn't fair to you guys. It wasn't fair to, the people on track. It wasn't fair to people that wanted to, watch I mean, this was NASCAR. This ended up like a NASCAR green white checkered, and that's not how I like driving these things. That's not how these cars are supposed to be handled. But that's how it ended up. And congrats to Bennett for taking it there. And I like to consider myself friends with Aaron Roofs there for getting P2 there. I was watching the whole thing, just kind of after I finished watching the replay of my wreck. And yeah, it just that finish was not okay. I'm sorry to you guys that you had to broadcast that.
One last question for me and for pretty much all the casters. How do we say your last name?
Hollabaugh. There's no N. There's no bro. It's
You gotta
just
run this whole
Hollabaugh.
time.
Every single time. I was watching back the broadcast when I was waiting in the interview room. I was chatting with some of the other guys here, but and I'm like, man, I'm not even mad. It's something I've dealt with my whole life. Just for the record, don't feel bad. Now, if it happens again, I will be mad. But no, we're cool.
All right. Well, thank you for letting us know.
Anytime,
Mr.
guys.
Hollabaugh.
There we go. That's good. That's good.
There. And I do believe we have Mr. Burton with us as well.
Yes. No.
He changed his name to Brendan.
No, this is another guy. This is, of course, his teammate, Brendan Lichtenberg. Hello, Brendan.
Hello. Hey, I'm there. Sorry.
I leave you in the capable hands of Austin and Joshua then.
Brendan, you finished P5 on the racetrack today. How was the race overall for you? It was a long one, 85 laps, had a good green flag run in the middle. What did you kind of face throughout the race, and what did you think of the whole thing in general?
So I don't remember exactly which lap, but there was an early caution where I took damage my left front, and I looked at the left front, and the tire was almost sideways. I thought, well, my race is over. Probably too much damage, we're done kind of thing. But come to the pits, and it was repairable. So I'm like, well, might as well finish out the race. And I was only wearing the outer sidewall the whole race. So I was kind of like, I felt like Mario Andretti in '69 when that tire wouldn't come off, and I had to just run that tire the whole race. But
yeah, definitely trying to hold a tire up there for the entire time is going to be taking a lot of stuff in there with you. And how sketchy was it?
it wasn't as surprising as it sounds. It wasn't too sketchy. I mean, it helped in the corners for sure. A lot more cornering speed. It would come off the corners, and it just kind of wouldn't hold straight, given the angle of the tire. But I was largely fine. Obviously, lost a lot of speed. Could reasonably hang in the draft with some people in the back, but it was just a matter of eventually survival at that rate. So,
all right. Anyone you want to shout out?
Sure. Just like to thank Broken Arrow and i5G. They get the work done for me, and we have a lot of fun doing it. So, just like to thank them.
All right. Well, thank you. And Marco, I believe I'll leave our last interview to you. It's your good buddy, Alessandro Dalladone.
Hello.
Hello, Alessandro. What's left of you after a very tough race? How was it running out there?
Interesting. Unfortunately, I cannot say I witnessed this beautiful end and this carnage, but my Sterling VP10 Lexus was pretty fast today, even if it was a bit damaged.
What happened there in the crash? Because we saw you get turned there. Were you a bit slower mid corner, or just a racing incident with your opponent?
I don't know either. I have no idea. I just got into the wall and don't know actually what happened there. Did not have a chance to watch.
Too bad, because you were on the comeback trail just like you did in Mosport last week. You were certainly looking to have a a good run again from the back of the field back to the front, and the car seemed to be good enough.
Yeah, the car was fine. The car was a decent car. It was fast, and I knew that there was gonna be a lot of trash today, so I was confident. But in the end, I got caught in the trash. So, and then I got spun in the pace lap by a Spanish guy behind me. I don't know how it happened and why, but he
By the
managed to
way,
get 3 positions. So.
I remember a moment you were getting lapped by the leaders, and you went wide and collected several cones to get out of the way. That was a pretty cool moment.
I don't recall, but anyway, it was a frustrating race after getting spun on the pace lap before the second to last caution, and I could have got a decent result, but you know, shit happens. They are only little happy incidents, so the world goes on.
Next week it's Detroit. You really love that track. Are you confident for that one?
Yeah, I'll be going to a Penske car for that race, so I know I have some extra booster to use during the race.
That is a very good plan, Alessandro. Before we let you go, anyone you'd like to thank?
Yeah, I have to thank my starting VP10 yogurt sponsor for this one show race. And next week, I'm pleased to announce that I'll be joining by Jeb's factory from Kerbal for the Detroit race.
Awesome.
Looking forward to my new sponsor.
Thank you very much, Alessandro. Have a good night.
Bye bye.
All right. Thank you, everybody, for joining us in the interviews. Once again, congrats to all of our drivers taking the win. Thank you, Marco, for providing the broadcast and the graphics, even though you disappeared into a void for about 20 laps. But hey,
yeah, I'm trying to understand if it was the power supply or just the maybe a little bit of issue with the power because I've been monitoring everything since the second part of the broadcast and everything went well. So apologies to everyone watching, and because of course we also had to change the video, the address of the stream, but looks like most of you found out regardless. And of course, Austin, big thank you and a very big welcome. And it was certainly a pleasure to have him with us. Of course, Joshua Lee with a fantastic debut despite having to deal with the technical difficulties, and me and you, of course.
Yeah, it's been an up and down race, but it's definitely an exciting one for my first. That finish was insane. I don't think in my future of doing iRacing and esports broadcasting, I don't think I'm going to see a finish like that ever again, at least for a long time, where basically the top 6 end up spinning across the line. But thank you, Marco. Thank you, Austin. This has been amazing. I'm so glad to join the Apex Racing TV family, and I'm so excited to see where iRacing will take me. Hopefully I get to do much more of this in the future.
All right. Thank you, everybody who's tuned in to watch. I've been joined by Joshua Lee and Marco Barbanera. I'm Austin, and I hope y'all have a good night.
Woo!